Welcome back. Welcome back. How is everybody doing? I am Ronnie from the Funker 530 team. For those that this is your first time here, what we're doing live is just going over some of the footage that we at Funker 530 have seen over the last 24 hours or so. But we're also here to just communicate with you on the things that we're looking at, give you a little bit of our take of what's happening in Ukraine. It is day 4 of Russia's invasion into Ukraine, and Ukraine continues to throw punches back. You know, we have been searching far and wide all day long. The Funker 530 team continues to put in the overtime. The writers and journalists, they give me enough reprieve and time off. I feel a little bit bad because they are absolutely firing on all cylinders. I've got Josh in my ear right now, and we also have Will on the line with me behind the scenes to make sure I don't say something stupid. But in the meantime, you guys know what I'm about to ask you to do, all the stupid stuff that I'm supposed to ask on YouTube, which is hitting the thumb button. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and download the app. The website has been live and active and great all day. We'll see what happens once all of you kind folk jump in there. The next quick announcement I wanted to talk about is going to be our merch. So yesterday we announced our merch with Bunker Branding, and we let you guys know that we were going to be doing any merch sales. Any merch sales were going to go towards Ukrainian charity. I wanted to give you some numbers. and I'm going to pull up. I've got a new stream deck here, so be patient with me. I'm going to pull up the first of those shirts that we announced yesterday. So yesterday, we sold over 5,100 shirts across the entirety of the merch store, including this one, which amounted to over $67,000 worth of revenue that would have otherwise come to the team. We are going to be sending that to charity. All right? We announced that yesterday. There is some irony. We have been working on our merch store for some time now, for months, with Bunker Branding. So there is an element of irony here that we launched the merch store right when this is happening, but it has been in the works for quite some time. I even met with Bunker Branding at SHOT Show. But this is just one of those shirts that we have launched, and I'll show you guys the other one. Right there. Again, we've sold over 5,100 of these. Those were stats as of, like 8 o'clock this morning. Who knows how many more we've done. I can't be certain about that. Thank you very much for the $10. Thanks for being Funker Fresh. Thank you. Chad, thank you for the $20. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking a little bit about what appears to be current Russian priorities relative to their different axes of advance. We're going to be talking a little bit about the footage that we've had. We're going to be responding and hanging out with you, getting your take on things that are happening. There's a poll out there. Please try to respond to that poll because I'm interested to better understand what you guys think about the situation in Ukraine with respect to Kiev. Let's talk about why I said Kiev and not Kiev. So I did a little bit of research. It's an easy Google search. My understanding of the pronunciation of Kiev or Kiev is the Russian pronunciation of the city of Kiev was Kiev. When Ukraine broke away and became its own internationally recognized sovereign entity, they changed it to Kiev. So I will be saying Kiev. The camera looks cloudy, hazy. It's probably just the filter. Here, watch. Ew. How's that? Do you ship to Norway? So something to keep in mind is we are partnered with a merch company for this stuff. So at Bunker Branding, over there on Bunker Branding's website, that's where you'll be able to find all of those answers. And yes, they do ship internationally. Now, again, what I want to do right here is I want to cover some of the footage that we've put up on the website, starting with our featured post for the evening, which is going to be a Ukrainian soldier firing man-portable air defense at a Russian fighter jet. So I'll get this one pulled up for you here right now. All of this footage is always available on our website and on the app. So make sure you guys have the app downloaded. It is rolling and active today. I'll give you guys a full screen for those that might be new and have never seen our website and or our app. This is the desktop version coming up right now. Yep. There is a dark mode if you're interested in it. Something to keep in mind is that you will not be alone by downloading our app. We are within the top 10 of news downloads in the iOS store. Top 10. Okay. Let's take a look at some of this other footage here. We're going to go back to me for a moment so I can get the next one. This is going to be an Su-25 Frogfoot. That's a Russian jet that receives a hit from a manpad, but is still able to continue carrying about its mission here. Again, this is all stuff that you can see on the app and on the website. So you could have watched this earlier on today and you'd have no reason to look at my stupid face. Coming up for you right now. See that hit right there? Still able to deliver its munitions. Start that over. If you blink, you'll miss it. Right there. Does have a smoke trail following after it now. Drop some flares on its leftward bank. That's a good one. Let's see what we wanted to cover next. This one. This is a hell of a video of a Ukrainian ambush. A Ukrainian ambush wherein two Ukrainian soldiers are just moseying on up into the middle of the ambush, and it's if the individual in the video is to be believed, we're looking at either some high-level officer, general type. Josh, do you know what that launcher is? The NLAW. It's a British NLAW. Pulling it up for you right now.
Генерал, блядь! Это генерал, блядь, готовьтесь, блядь. Что, он отходит?
Jamsheed.
Твари, блядь, сдохните. За каждую свинью.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said Jamsheed.
Твари, блядь.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Обещаю, блядь,
Ukrainian
после этой ебаной войны,
Jamsheed.
блядь, заткнуться на русском языке, блядь, твари, нахуй.
That one was a good one. Oh, if hey Josh, if people search Jamsheed, are they able to end up at the RPG God video? Okay. We're gonna paste the link for the Jamsheed video for those that don't know who Jamsheed is, but you need to know who Jamsheed is. In the meantime, let me take a look through some of this other footage that we've got because some of it was pretty hectic. Here's a good one. An absolute Chad driving a Ukrainian Strela just ignores the fact that a Russian gun truck is in its way. And he just keeps on keeping on to the McDonald's or wherever he's going to grab a keg of beer. This is an amazing video. Coming up for you right now. So this is a Russian gun truck that we're looking at right here. You're going to see a Ukrainian APC come in from left to right here. And it's just going to keep on keeping on right through all that gun truck's fire. Jamsheed. Kept on keeping on right past him. Again, a Russian gun truck here. And that is a Ukrainian Strela that went driving right through. Let's take a look at those shots again. You'll see them once they start getting real close to each other. All right, let's move on to the next one. Well, let me get the Jamsheed video pasted into chat for everybody to see. 1 second here. If you haven't heard of Jamsheed, go watch this video and then come back. You want to just how long is this one? I don't remember. Oh yeah, we can just watch it. All right, let me introduce you guys to Jamsheed. We're gonna learn about Jamsheed. You're gonna get let's go to right side here.
Sustain, keep it sustained. Hey, keep it sustained, Roger.
While they wait for the airspace to clear, one Afghan soldier decides to make a stand.
Jamsheed, he's the leader of the 10 ANA that were working with us for the mission. He carries an RPG with a backpack full of like 5 more rounds. And he was bragging to us beforehand about how he's killed 5 Taliban or something the week before with his RPG.
What's he doing?
What the fuck is he doing?
He wants to shoot that fucking thing.
So we're in the middle of our firefight, and all of a sudden we see Jamsheed just walking up like a boss.
You didn't give a fuck, dude.
He's not scared of anything. Rounds coming around him, like everyone else is down, you know, behind cover. And he's just walking up in the wide open.
Go get him, brother.
With this RPG over his shoulder.
Dude, he's gonna go fuck some shit up.
He just stands up, posts up, and starts aiming at the green zone where we're taking fire from.
Hey, ANA's gonna fire an RPG just because.
Oh my, what the fuck? Damn. Good shot.
America, motherfucker!
Good shot, man.
Perfect. You couldn't get a more perfect RPG shot than he had.
Here you go, Jim shot.
Jamsheed.
Yeah, that fucking badass!
Afterward, he had a huge smile on his face, like giving a thumbs up. Everyone was like yelling for Jamsheed.
He's like, oh, you Americans, just laying in the dirt.
So he proved to be a boss, like he said he was before the mission.
Salute cinema. Finish. One RPG, Taliban. Yeah. Finish Taliban.
That is Jamsheed. If you are not familiar with Jamsheed, that's where all of those comments come from here. I've got to figure out how to work my new buttons. So there you go. There's Jamsheed. That's why you saw all those comments down there. Let's take a look at some of this other footage that we've got from the Ukraine conflict. Now let's circle back to Ukraine. Here's a good one. So I'm sure you've seen footage of the high-rise, and at least photos of the high-rise in Kiev that was impacted by, I want to say it was Russian cruise missiles or Russian arty. One of the two. We've got some footage of folks running into that building with what appears to be a firefighter following close behind. And it's going to be coming up for you right now. So this is that same high-rise. Josh, do you have a picture of that? I could probably Google it. Thanks, buddy. So here is a damaged close-up of that, of what they are running into. Coming up for you right now. Here is a little bit further out, so you can see at ground level what they were running into. Again, all this footage that we're talking about that we're going to be showing you tonight, today, is available on the app. The app and website are live. They are operating the way we expect them to, and the way we hope they do. Legend of Jamsheed. Let's pull up another one of our videos here. We looked at the manpad. Here's one. And Josh, we did run the fact check Molotov. Yeah, we did. All right, we're gonna go through two things here. We've talked a lot about our fundamental mission here at Funker 530. Our fundamental mission isn't necessarily a fact check mission, but we have enough breadth and legacy in combat footage that when something is awry, we are oftentimes able to find it. We do sometimes play that fact check mission. So the first video I'm going to show you here is a confirmed video from the conflict today, and then I'm going to show you one that has been pushed around social media that is not, and they're very, very, very directly related here. Coming up right now. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at Ukrainian volunteers or civilians putting together thousands of Molotov cocktails. Just an immense amount of Molotov cocktails. Okay? We'll watch that again. Those are all, what you're looking at there is like basically milk crates, almost, if you will. Some of these are all Molotov cocktails that are being made. Now, there was video that was circulating on social media and elsewhere showing a armored personnel carrier of some kind being impacted with Molotov cocktails. This video. And that is and would be the effective way to use the Molotov in mass, especially against armored vehicles. Now, here's the deal. We're not even gonna watch that anymore because somebody's not gonna pay full attention. That video is old. That is not from the current conflict. That is from 2014, okay? And you can read all about that with the analysis that Josh put together, and Josh is in my ear right now. In the analysis section, underneath, right? So he's got a lot of great information in the analysis section for you, including how to spot generally fake videos, okay? All right. let's jump to another video here. LTE Tapia, thank you for the $4.99. Bruce, thanks for becoming a member. Guys, if you become a member of the stream, a member of the YouTube channel here, make sure you're joining the Discord, because there's a hidden area for the Discord, or for members only in the Discord. And in there, you'll end up, after this promotional pricing on our merch is done, right now we have it discounted for the first 30 days since we just launched it. But you'll also be able to receive merch discounts dependent upon the tier you become a member at. But you're not going to be able to do that unless you're in the Discord and unless you have connected your YouTube and your Discord accounts together. And you do that in Discord. Go to your personal settings, go to connections, go to YouTube out of Discord, okay? We will be jumping into live footage here in just a minute. Restricted. Thank you for the $4.99. Thank you for the $4.99. Let's just see if there's anything else from today to cover now. Oh, what? So yeah, let's talk a little bit about this one. So yesterday we talked, actually for the past couple days, we've been talking about Anonymous, the hacktivist group, came to rise in 2009, 2010 off of 4chan, basically B, for those of you that remember B. Well, Anonymous has essentially declared what would theoretically be considered like a cyber war against Russia. Now, Anonymous has essentially hacked Russian TV. Okay, now we've got a video we're gonna take a look at here, and it's kind of fantastic. Well, Josh, what did you say that they're displaying on it now? Images from the war coming up now. I'll give you full screen on this one. Okay. And Anonymous is taking credit for that on Twitter. What I want to do is I want to jump into the map here. I want to talk a little bit about, you know, where Russia's main focus areas are from their axes of advance. I want to talk a little bit about some problems that Russia has run into and the way things have slightly changed a little bit from yesterday on our invasion map here. Give me a second to get it pulled up for you. Coming up now. So we're back on live UA map. I've been enjoying using live UA map. And let's talk a little bit about Russian axes of advance here, right? So the activity in Chernobyl is exactly what we had been discussing over the last couple of days. That is essentially the priority from a Kiev standpoint at this point. Russia has essentially failed to encircle Kiev from both the east and the west and north as they had originally attempted to. So now the focus is really a single approach avenue from the north and northwest here. Now these red areas are essentially supposed to depict Russian control. I can't personally validate them. This is not my map, but they are close to what you'll see most places. Now, something that we've seen reporting on, relatively speaking, is in Kharkiv. There was a lot. So Kharkiv would be considered the second largest city in Ukraine, and a very heavy focus in taking Kharkiv early on in the conflict over the last few days. But we're seeing Russian forces start to break away from that specific area and start to try and press towards Kyiv even harder. Now, where the biggest resistance that Ukraine has been mounting, not just Kyiv, but in the south at Kherson. So there are reports stating that Ukraine has retaken Kherson. This is a major avenue of advance. So you've got an entire land bridge between Transnistria, Crimea, and the Donbass region that Russia is trying to establish here, right? You can see the relative success that they're having between Crimea and Mariupol. Mariupol has not fallen yet. But having that southern base connected with each other provides just a very wide launching point to push further and further north. So there are a lot of reports coming out of Kiev regarding saboteur efforts from Russia. We saw footage yesterday of supposed saboteurs that had taken control of Ukrainian vehicles and were trying to, hammer those through Kiev. But largely it's been unsuccessful. And that's why the poll that I have out there right now is, how long do you think that they're going to be able to hold Kiev? Right? Let me go through some of these, some of this support that we have out there. Thank you for the $9.99. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's just a bunch of symbols. Joe, thank you for the $9.99. Jaho Meister, thank you for the $10.95. Veteran Advocate, thanks for becoming a member. Arles, thank you for the $7.88. Love the channel. Thank you for all the breakdowns and clarification. We're doing our best. We're not perfect. If you're not familiar with us, we are a small group of veterans that have been monitoring, conflict, combat footage, and use of force footage for well over the last decade. So this is kind of our arena. That's why we opened up with the footage. And we're not perfect, right? We are not some media conglomerate with 100 editors and analysts behind us. You can count us on 1 1/5 hands. That's how many people we have. Why do the captured Russians look like the B team? So we were actually talking about this in the Discord. Let me respond to that directly. Because it is the B team. It absolutely is. We haven't seen footage or reports of folks like the GRU. We haven't seen the tip of Russia's spear yet. There has been a lot of discussion on Twitter relative to the amount of artillery and cruise missiles. It might seem like a lot, but Russia is really only using a small portion of their capability. Now, there were also reports yesterday and footage of new artillery pieces, new mortar pieces that were being moved in, and I think we see a general frustration from Putin, believing full well that he was going to have an easier, it was going to be an easier job to take Ukraine than it has been. But Ukraine's defense has been wildly successful, at least thus far. I think the biggest threat, like we just talked about, is going to be from that northern Chernobyl area. Let's go back to the map. This, in my opinion, is the biggest threat area. Now, Belarus stepped in here, and that's, we had troops crossing the border 2 days ago from Belarus, and it's likely still happening. Another note, though, is I know we laugh and we joke and we wonder about whether or not Russia has been able, or whether or not the ghost of Kiev is real. But here's a simple fact. Russia has still not gained air superiority over Ukraine. They have not. The Ukrainian Air Force is still absolutely throwing punches. Absolutely. There are a lot of reports in northeastern Ukraine up here of Russian morale issues, logistical supply issues. From a planning perspective, a lot of the narratives that you'll see that I personally agree with are what appears to be general poor planning. Somebody said early on, I was watching, don't ask me why, it was late at night. I was watching Anderson Cooper. Nothing against Anderson Cooper, but they were talking about how it's been planned for years. And all I could think to myself is you've planned this for years? This seems like it was thrown together on a chalkboard. It is not going Putin's way right now. Okay, let's jump to a few more pieces of footage here. Yep, that's where I was going next. Yeah, trolls. I got one coming up for you right now. Essentially, the power of the civilians was on full display, and a crowd of civilians essentially just standing there yelling likely obscenities, or maybe just being absolute chads. I'm convinced at this point that Ukraine is just a country full of giga chads. We saw, you know, Giga Chad Grandma. We saw Baba Yaga yesterday. It would just take a look.
Тікають, суки.
Basically, that was just a bunch of Ukrainians saying, "Get off my porch." And it worked. What I want to pull up is I'm going to pull up next a live feed because, you know, we're starting to hear a lot of shelling, and something that's pertinent to talk about specific to Kiev is that Russia still has really yet to bring any heavy armor into play to try to take Kiev. There's really only that narrow west bank of the river slice that they're trying to push in, and if they're going to try to do that, that's essentially, you know, the Persian army at Thermopylae. They're not going to be able to do it with infantry. So it's likely that we start to see, if this is going to be their avenue of advance, that we start to see something a little bit heavier being used here, right? Now, the question that I have from what they've put into Belarus, I haven't had a whole lot of a chance to research what they have in Belarus from a logistics perspective. You know, what's their support structure look like from the north here, rather than what would theoretically be considered a very robust support structure to the east and northeast, right? Anyway, let's get a live feed up, and we can monitor that. Pay close attention to that for a little bit. Coming up for you momentarily. This is a live feed from our good friends over at Poised Tactical. He is in the Discord hanging out with everybody. Use the command !Discord if the commands are working. I can't see why they wouldn't be. But if the commands are working, use the command !Discord to jump in there. I'm going to give you full screen for a little bit, and we're going to listen closely. We'll watch this for just a little bit, and then we'll go back to the map, and we'll talk a little bit about eastern Ukraine, and you know, a couple of impactful pieces to the activity that's happening there. In the meantime, make sure you've hit the thumb button. You know, shove your thumb right on top of that thumb. Just don't smash it. We need that. And I'll go through some of the support that we're getting here. Gene, thank you for the $5 super chat. OP, thank you for the $1. Jess, thank you for the $20. Josh, thank you for the $5 that just came in. Francisco, thank you for the $4.99. Amazing work. Thank you for the content. We're doing our best. You know, we're not perfect. But we're trying. And thank you for that. Crookshank Outdoors, thanks for the $3.94. Blotsky, thank you for the $3.94 as well. Putin is underestimated what self-determination looks like. A severe miscalculation on his part, terrible planning. I think something that's relatively pertinent here as well is he may have miscalculated public support, not only in Russia, but in Ukraine for an invasion. Why are there not more videos of bodies? We have quite a few on the website, John Doe. Thank you for the $5. Hawkins, thank you for the 78 cents. Tyler Hill, thank you for the 20. Maku, when are you guys dropping sunflower babushka merch? We are rapidly working multiple merch designs. Chaotic Clyde, thank you for the 20. Putin has not sent his best troops or equipment. He's keeping his best for last. That is becoming a commonly discussed right now. Yep, it is. I agree with you. Mark Rudolph, thank you for the $50 super chat. Goodness gracious, man. Thank you for that. Sensor, thank you for the 788 and helping me better pronounce cities. The K in Ukrainian city names is silent. Kharkiv is Kharkiv. And Kherson is Kherson. Okay, thank you. Come back up here for a moment. Check in on chat. Sure. Okay. He's the what ambassador to whom? So do we have that picture? Okay, can you drop that in? We're gonna debunk something else here for you guys. Let me I guess I'll be Big Ronnie for a minute. The Samurai of Kiev. This is a thing. The Samurai of Kiev. Let me show you a picture of him. So this is reportedly, or purportedly, supposedly, the Samurai of Kiev. That's the Ukrainian ambassador to Japan. And he's not, you said, Josh, you said he's not even in Ukraine? I mean, he looks like a badass, though. He is not the Japanese ambassador to Ukraine, the Ukrainian ambassador to Japan. Let's go back to the map here. I want to talk a little bit about a few other pertinent items. All right. Ukraine has a pretty big decision. Volodymyr Zelensky has a pretty big decision to make here very, very soon as that northern axis starts to get closer and closer to Kiev. Right? As this develops, and again, Russia at a time was trying to advance along the eastern bank of the Dnieper, but they were unsuccessful, relatively speaking, in doing so. So this is their only access into Kiev. As that happens, Russia has started to bypass the heavy buildup of Ukrainian troops in the east near Donbass. As this continues to develop, these troops are going to need to peel back. They're going to need to peel back because what's going to end up happening is a general isolation of the east as Russia comes around. Presumably, if Russia attempts to take Kherson back and is successful in doing so and advances up the western bank of the river here, And as they begin to bypass, and you can see, you know, if this is to be believed, if this control area is to be believed for Russia, you can see it starting to break out to the west here, to the northwest, rather than envelop Kharkiv. As that begins to happen, this defensive posture here will need to break down. Okay. All right, let's jump back over to a little bit more of the footage that we had today. Can we get access to the map? And if so, how? Yep, it's liveuamap.com. That is not our map. That is not our map. I'm pasting it in chat for you guys now. I am pasting it in chat. Let's take a look here. We've got some footage of Russia throwing a few punches with the best soundtrack ever. Of Russia throwing a few punches against Ukrainian anti-air. Punches are very much so still two-sided. Two-sided, right? Again, Russia is having a harder time than they expected to, but Ukraine is fighting back, but it is still very much so punch for punch. Coming up for you right now. And this is an M24 Hind destroying a Ukrainian Buk M1 air defense system along a Ukrainian highway. Here you are. So there's the Hind taking the shot at the very beginning of the video. We'll watch that again. Got it. Rockets, impact. Okay. You said everything down to calm before the storm? Perfect. We've got multiple angles of cruise missiles hitting that Highrise. So we talked a little bit about the Highrise earlier, showed you some pictures of it. That's coming up for you right now. I'm going to give you full screen here because it is a 16:9 video. There's that cruise missile there.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка, просто в зале дырка.
That impact. Okay. That one's been pretty popular on mainstream media though. But it is available to you on the app and on the website. Did you see the MRAP shooting at APCs drive past each other on War Leaks? No, I saw it on our website. Saw it on our website. That was one that we looked through just a few minutes earlier. Let's see. Are we offline? Oh, okay. I thought for a second we went offline. Let's take a look at some rockets near Kharkiv. Russian rockets impacting a residential area here. Coming up for you now. These look like grads. Josh?
Это я охуел, ёбаный в рот.
Another residential area. Now, there were reports that came out earlier of another early education school. I think kindergarten was reported again being hit with, you know, some children that were killed because of it. But that's not the first. That's not the first report of that or video that we've seen of kids being killed. Keep going through some of this other footage, and then we'll go back to the live feed and check in there. I need to go through some of this support that's coming over to us. Thank you guys very much for being here, for being engaged with us, for joining the Discord, for downloading the app. Thank you. Again, we are not a large team, so that support, just being here, watching, engaging with us, civil discussion, discourse, that's how to support us. I said that, Josh. Don't yell at me. Now, keep in mind, there's going to be things that I can't show you guys here, right? Because some of it is definitely not safe for work. YouTube has their own rules with what I can and can't do, and we abide by those, right? Because we are on their platform. We don't have those same rules over on our platform, on our app, and on our website. So there is definitely some footage over there that I'm not going to be able to show you here. It will be tagged with not safe for work. And that's one of the things that I am double checking before I open any of our videos that we put up. Let's open up a Russian captive speaking to his parents. This one, it's an interesting watch. That's for sure. Got it. Coming up for you now. We're going to go full screen with it.
Я в плену, бать.
Где?
В плену.
Ты что, правда, что ли?
Да.
И что тут делать?
Не знаю, надо что-то решать, что-то делать.
Мама передам.
Она сейчас очень сильно... Да, мам. Я в плену, мам.
Говори, где ты в плену? Конкретно, где ты?
Как это?
Так, на Украине в плену.
А как ты сюда попал-то?
Сказали, едьте на Украину, мы поехали. Мам, никто ничего не знал. Я не знаю, что делать. Надо что-то решить, ну...
Просите.
Чего не сделать?
Не знаю, мам. Помощь нужна. Я не знаю.
Скажи, что с тобой тут хорошо поступал.
Ты с кем туда поехал?
Я не обижаю.
Все поехали.
А один ты попал, да?
Я не знаю.
Вот ты сейчас где сидишь-то?
Ну, на Украине местность я не знаю, мам.
А ты в километре, что ли?
Нет. Иди, вообще похуй. А?
А где?
Да я не знаю.
Говори, пусть мама обращается, блядь.
Мама, обращайтесь к командирам, позвони кому-нибудь.
Пусть на площадях не.
All right, so that is a video that we received that was only in Russian or Ukrainian. I personally can't tell the difference between the two languages very well, but we do have Discord members that are leaning in to help out. Specifically, this was translated with the subtitles added by Mark Hax, Markhaxx. So thank you very much to Mark for helping us do that. The Discord is definitely the place to be during this because there's a lot of good discussion in there. Every once in a while, we'll have, you know, a sheep in the wolves, if you will, and we'll have to remove that individual. But by and large, that we have a 99% positive discussion in there right now, and it's definitely the place that you want to be. Let's go through. Go ahead. Okay. So Josh was chiming in to let me know that right now something that's happening in the Discord that you can go in and listen to is one of our Discord members whom speaks Russian is live in the Discord translating Russian communications. So there's all kinds of really great discussion and additional information that is happening in there. Make sure you guys are joining, and that's also where we're doing a lot of our communication about when we're going live, when we're not. Please do be joining. We're going to pull up the live feed so that I can go through some of this support that we continue to receive from you guys, and thank you again. Again, I'm going to paste a link for this live feed. It is hosted by our very good friend over at Poised Tactical, so make sure to drop a subscribe over there for him. This is the feed we're going to pull up for just a moment while I go through some of this support. Coming up now. I'll give you full screen. Frank Mix, thanks for the $5. Pride or Honesty, thank you for the $5. How much more can Russia throw at Ukraine without leaving its own back door open to attack? I think quite a bit, probably. You know, like I said, we haven't seen the real tip of the spear, of the proverbial spear, I guess, for Russia. But I think we're going to start to over the course of the next couple of days if things keep not going Putin's way. NXT Automotive, thank you for the $3.94. I hope this war ends sooner than later and with Russia leaving Ukraine alone. I think there would be a lot that would share that sentiment with you, brother. And thanks again for the $3.94. Wings of Steel, thank you for the $5. I don't think the cruise missile's target was the building. Building might have been in the way. Potentially. Yeah, sure. Norse Peak, thank you for the $10. Any updates on the Chernobyl radiological situation? I know the reports have increased more than expected, dust being kicked up. That's the last that we had heard about it as well. Sorry, guys. I'm listening to Josh give me a little bit of an update there. So it was a propaganda video, but... Okay. Got it. Okay, so there was a video released today with both Russia and the Ukrainian National Guard. Would that be accurate to say? Both Russia and the Ukrainian National Guard were evaluating the site. I'm going to come up full screen here. We're evaluating the site, and it turns out that the core was still intact. There were not, and correct me if I go right here, Josh, there were not additional, or there was not a heightened radioactive level. Would that be accurate? Yeah. Okay. Do we have that video? Oh, I don't care. We know that it's Russian propaganda. We can definitely watch it. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna keep going through some of the support while Josh is taking a look through to find that video, if he's able to. He's here on his own time on a Saturday evening to hang out with me and help me respond to some of y'all's very good questions. Very good questions. Lord Tachanka. This is my Rainbow Six Siege player. Thank you for the $5. Might as well say that Funker 530 would be the most accurate news channel to exist with cool content that not even YouTube would have. We're just sharing what we've been doing for quite some time now. And thank you very much for that $5, sir. The Amazing Fetus. Thank you very much for becoming a member. Welcome to the Funkers. Brian Alvarado. Thank you for the $1. Poised Tactical. Thanks for sending in a $5 Samurai of Ukraine t-shirt, please. Okay. We can take a look at it. Good Robot, thank you for the $5. Just ordered my Ghost shirt. Thank you for what you've been doing these last few days. I appreciate that very much. Daniel, thank you for the $4.99. Caitlin, in Daniel's question is, with Swift banking being denied, will this turn into a U.S. hot war? Difficult to say. Difficult to say. Caitlin Johnson, thanks for becoming a member. Cap Thalis, thank you for the $5, excuse me. Pito, thank you for the $15. Is it true that some volunteers helping Ukraine fight are from retired Western military? We do know that retirees from at least the Ukrainian military are supporting actively. I mean, that's quite obvious at this point. From Western military, I personally have not seen any. I've seen those reports, but I have no real way of validating that myself. Rob Matt, thank you for the $5. Why do you think Putin hasn't thrown everything at this yet? From Rob Matt for $5. Why hasn't China joined in to help? If they did help, do you think North Korea would assist? No. No, I don't. North Korea's got a major problem on their southern border. If they do anything stupid, that would be very dumb. Relative to China, China is going to prefer stability more than anything right now. That stability allows China to continue to develop into, the manufacturing powerhouse that it has been over the last few years. I don't see China providing that type of direct support. Relative to why Putin hasn't thrown anything or his best at this yet, I like to believe, and whether I'm wrong or not, I probably am. I'm no expert in Eastern European affairs. I'm not. I'm becoming more and more versed on it as the days go on here. But I don't think I think he overestimated what he was going to be capable to do with his, with what he had in line. I think he underestimated Ukrainian defense, and I think he overestimated the forces that he had aligned against this. I'm trying to catch up on chat here. Chat's moving pretty fast, so if I miss you, I'm so sorry. But China has been backing Russia up in the new sanction. Well, of course they have. Of course they have. What I mean specifically is, direct aid, direct support, right? They are going to stay, at least at face value, aligned with their closest and largest ally there. I think we're going to get roped in. No, not as the United States military. Where I think the most likely, not necessarily saying that this is the best course of action, where I think the most likely scenario is the NATO response force getting involved, which it's I'm not entirely sure whether or how many we have in support of the NATO response force right now, because it does rotate country to country, different levels of support each year or over a certain period of time. I think the more likely scenario from an external, boots perspective is the NATO response force, and it has been activated for the first time ever, right? And that does include land, sea, and air assets. Willie, we could try to reach out to Willie, see if we can get in touch with him and bring him back in sometime as he's available, right? We are staying in contact with Willie regularly, right? We're checking in with him. He is well. He is well. All right, let's jump back over to our map and take a look at some of these SIGACs here. Coming up for you now. I'm going to have to potty in a minute. I'm allowed to say potty. Make sure you guys are downloading the app, because all of that footage that we've been taking a look at on the website, this being our website here, all of this footage is available to you. And there's a lot of it that I just can't show you. I just can't show you some of the most intense footage. Let's pull this up though. So again, something that we covered early on, is some of these axes of advance that I want to rehash for those that might not have been here. I'm still surprised we haven't seen a whole lot of activity out of Transnistria. There were Russian troops that were stationed in Transnistria ahead of the invasion, and this is Transnistria here. It is essentially a breakaway region of Moldova that Russia has acknowledged. Again, one of those fantasy places that Russia likes to believe they can just claim, right? I personally have claimed all of your side porches as mine. So if I can just come over whenever and take my side porch, that'd be nice. So Transnistria, there were Russian troops that were stationed here. I'd be really interested to understand how they got there, maybe via water, not sure. But Russia has essentially been halted here in Kherson. Ukraine, we have reports of Kherson. We have reports that Ukraine has effectively taken Kherson back, right? What you're looking at in red is presumably the control areas for Russia. They are really trying to establish this southeastern at a minimum land bridge. By taking Mariupol, they will have effectively done that. Mariupol has not fallen, contrary to some reports. But in the east over here with Luhansk and Donetsk, you have that early heavy buildup that, by and large, there isn't a whole lot of press from the east right now. Russia is really, really reliant on this northern axis from Chernobyl, it appears, along with this southern push through Crimea. But if they are able to establish this land bridge, if you will, connect these two, then they have an excellent west of the Dnipro and east of it, this being that river specifically, west and east of it, that they can just continue to press north. Something I talked about a little bit earlier is the necessity for them to really, for Ukraine specifically, to really begin thinking about what to do with the heavier buildup of Ukrainian defenses here in the east. At some point, if these other three axes in the northeast, south, and north continue to gain ground, you're going to isolate all of these forces, right? And they would theoretically be better used back here. What you end up doing, though, is giving up all of that ground. So that has to be like a very last-minute decision. Ghost of Kiev, I've got your message there. I'm gonna run to the potty and I'm gonna bring back up Poised Tactical's live stream of all of our different feeds and a Twitter fall. I'm gonna go potty. I'm gonna check in on a couple things and we'll be right back to you guys. Okay. So stick around. Use that time to download the app. Use that time to hit the thumb button, drop the subscribe. If you guys want to go subscribe to my other channel, if you're a fan of gaming and things like that, go do so. ! Ronnie Fit will take you over there. Meantime, I'll get that other live feed up for you in a moment. I don't know why I deleted it. There we go. Coming up for you guys now. Be right back. I actually haven't left yet. So I'm not pissing in a bottle right now. Just a heads up. Maybe I do sit down when I pee. Everybody likes to be comfortable. You know what? Fine. We'll just come right back. Welcome back. You guys wouldn't let me go pee, go tinkle in peace. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. We're going to head back over to the website and take a look at some of our other footage that we've got. So we have a video that was just posted 10 minutes ago. Again, if you have the app, you would have gotten this already, of the Russian Navy being suspected of firing on a civilian tanker with the crew injured. We've got video of the tanker on fire here that I'm going to pull up, and I'm going to give you full screen.
Спасение экипажа. 25.02. Беллиниал Спирит. Сорвался на рейде на ОПЛ. 3 человека капитана из воды подняли. Тащим вдоль борта, пока не можем поднять на палубу.
Let's watch that again.
Спасение экипажа. 25.02. Беллиниал Спирит. Сорвался на рейде на ОПЛ. 3 человека капитана из воды подняли. Тащим вдоль борта, пока не можем поднять на палубу.
All right, coming back up. Sit and pee. No men left. I don't have anything to prove to you. Let's jump into the website here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate you being here. Let's jump into the website here for a few more videos, and then we'll go back to our map. We'll check in on some current stuff. We're going to go to Twitter Fall and check in on that. So we have video of a Russian Hind being shot down over Ukraine by Ukrainian forces here. Coming up for you right now.
Сука, мразь нахуй. Сука, мразь нахуй. Что там мразь? Опа. Опа, опа.
Он пойдет. Падает. На саге, ебать.
На саге падай вверх.
Ёбаный в рот.
Бля.
Use the command !Discord, folks. Use the command !Discord to get into the Discord and join the commentary, join the discussion.
Что там мразь? Опа. Опа, опа.
Он пойдет. Падает. На саге, ебать.
На саге падай вверх.
I'm also going to play debunk here myself. So I've gotten DMs, and I can't get through all of them. Thank you guys for engaging with me. I just getting so many of them, and the amount of support that's coming in is fantastic. I've gotten DMs from one of the original pushes into Hostomel Airport near Kiev of British press, and they are, you know, appear to be right in the midst of conflict, and you can hear an American, right? You can hear an American, and I've gotten this a few times, and it's folks have been wondering whether or not it's some form of an American operator. Now I'm gonna pull this video up and play it for you, and then I'm gonna tell you who it is. I'm gonna tell you exactly who it is, and I'm gonna give you his Twitter handle to go follow. Coming up for you guys right now with sound. And I'm sure you've seen, you might have seen this video already.
Close. Don't move, don't move, don't move. Fuck. We need to be in the building.
We got buildings right
Yeah,
there.
there's no entry in there.
Fucking make one.
Mate, there's no doors. Fuck.
Listen closely. You'll hear an American accent coming up here very soon. Not yet, Perez.
How you
Just
holding
listen.
up, brother?
Right there.
How you holding up, brother? Why?
It
Let's
continues.
go right over top of us.
We just had shells come in. Fuck. Shells just landed by us. What's going on?
I don't see nothing.
What's happening? Greg, we need to be in the building, man.
Russian.
Huh?
Russian helicopter to my fucking 12 behind the buildings.
Seen. Moving right to left. Firing. Flares. Those are flares out.
Means they're getting shot at.
Whew. This is fucking war.
Okay, let's talk about who that is, right? And the initial thought of you know, so many people is going to be, oh, that's an American operator. That's an American operator of some kind on the ground, you know, quote unquote operator. That is Nolan Peterson. His name's Nolan Peterson. He works for Coffee or Die magazine. He's a good friend of ours. Okay, he's a journalist. That was him. So when you guys see this on your Reddit threads, and I pasted the link to his Twitter. And I'm going to do it a bunch again. When you guys see this on Reddit threads and you see this floating around social media, now you know who that is. And you understand that it is not an American operator. Anyway, let's check in on some of the support that we've got coming in here. I'm going to pull up our live feed while we do that. Get my mouse over to the right screen. SS, thank you for the $9.99. Mr. Jin Cool, thank you for the $2. The Daily L, thank you for the $4.99. Why would we help if Ukraine is not a part of NATO? Well, Ukraine is a non-NATO member ally. They are an ally of NATO. And we, as a collective across the globe, tend to help when somebody's being bullied. Caleb, thank you for the $19.99. How do you think the world's involvement will play out in this invasion? That's difficult to say. I think, you know, it depends on whether or not Putin really stands by his threats, you know, of escalation with intervention, and where Putin's mind stops at what intervention means. So what intervention means to Putin, really only Putin knows that. Right now, there is lethal aid, lethal supplies that are actively being provided to Ukrainians, to the Ukrainian military. There's humanitarian aid that's being provided. NATO has activated the NATO response force for the first time ever. That's never happened before. That's up to 40,000 troops that NATO would theoretically be able to put into play here, right? So the likelihood of American forces as the American military engaging direct, or even British forces as the British military engaging direct, I would say is slim. Very, very slim. That said, dependent upon the current cycle of rotation through the NATO response force, in my limited understanding of it, is that it kind of rotates who is on the hook to man that. That involvement is more likely. Moving forward here. Social media in America's OPSEC nightmare. It is. Go get Gatorade bottles. I'll be all right. I've held it for longer. We'll be just fine. Mainly Overland, thank you for the $4.99. B, thank you for the $19.99. Tonka Boys, thank you for the 20. Good job, Funker. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank you. I am just one small part of a still small team. I am just one small part of the team. I am one of our only remaining live streamers, so I'm the only one that just happens to have overlays and stuff set up to go through this stuff for you guys. Great Loner, thank you for the $5. Joseph Alvarez, thank you for the 20. Can U.S. citizens, especially veterans, volunteer themselves to go to Ukraine like some did for the Kurds, or do we have to be a part of some mercenary group or paramilitary organization? Well, oddly enough, and ironically, Josh just was letting me know a few moments ago that the Ukrainian president has invited all volunteer aid that would like to support. So he said specifically, we will arm you, and this is Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. We will arm you and we will help you fight. Nilo is offline. Thank you for the 249. Notice me, Ronnie, senpai. Hi. Let me turn off my alerts here. Hi. Do you think China will try to make a move on Taiwan? That is one of the biggest questions that everybody has right now. Again, I think China has a preference for relative stability at the moment, right? I know China and Taiwan, you know, there were discussions, is China and Taiwan going to kick off first, or is it going to be Russia, Ukraine? I think as things ratchet up in Ukraine from a Russia perspective, China taking on Taiwan at the same time without really having a lot of support that would come in with Russia would be kind of stupid. You know, does that make sense? But then again, I am not an expert. We really only focus on footage, if you will. I don't pretend to be a strategic analysis expert. That's just the thoughts of me, my personal opinion, which matters to me and me alone. Not sure if this has already been discussed, but are there any speculation as to what the U.S. Air Force is refueling near the Ukraine border? Potentially drones. So we have seen on flight radar, and I can see if I can pull up some of those now, RQ-4 Reapers that are out in the Black Sea there. Let's see if we've still got some Reapers in the Black Sea. You talk so seriously, but you say so little. Yep. Yep, we sure do. Here, let me pull this up for you. Forte 11 is still out there. So Forte 11 is an RQ-4B Global Hawk. I said Reaper earlier, and I was mistaken. I think I said Reaper. So this could be what they are refueling. I've seen two different call signs here, Forte 11 and Forte 12. Still quite a bit of standoff. Even more standoff than there was when things, first started. There were reports early on of, transport ships or transport aircraft going down even in Russia, Russian airport or Russian air transports going down. We have only really seen a few limited photos of aircraft that have been down. Okay. We are going to watch, coming up next, Volodymyr Zelensky basically asking for volunteers. That's coming up right now. How long is the speech? 5 minutes? 5:16.
Почати це звернення з хорошої новини. Ми вистояли і успішно відбиваємо атаки ворога. Бої тривають у багатьох містах та районах нашої держави, але ми знаємо, що ми захищаємо країну, землю, майбутнє дітей. Київ та ключові міста навколо столиці контролюються саме нашою армією. Окупанти хотіли заблокувати центр нашої держави і поставити тут своїх маріонеток, як у Донецьку. Ми зламали їхній задум, вони не отримали жодної переваги над нами. На наших вулицях, у небі Києва, у Василькові, у Вишгороді, навіть у навколишніх полях тривала справжня битва за Київ. Ворог застосував проти нас усе – ракети, винищувачі, безпілотники, артилерію, бронетехніку, диверсантів, десант. Окупанти б'ють по житловим кварталам, в тому числі з реактивної артилерії. Намагаються зруйнувати енергетичні об'єкти. У них дуже підла тактика. Зруйновані ракетами та артилерією житлові будинки – це остаточний аргумент для світу, щоб разом з нами зупинити окупаційне нашестя. Кажу це максимально зараз відверто. Народ України вже заслужив і має право отримати членство в Європейському Союзі. Це і буде ключовим свідченням підтримки нашої країни. Настав вирішальний момент раз і назавжди закрити багаторічну стратегічну дискусію і прийняти рішення про членство України в Європейському Союзі. Обговорив це сьогодні з Шарлем Мішелем, Урсулою фон дер Ляйн, Еммануелем Макроном. Антивоєнна коаліція діє. В Україну йде оборонна зброя та обладнання. Вже маємо майже повну підтримку країн Європейського Союзу щодо відключення Росії від СВІФТу. Сподіваюся, що Німеччині та Угорщині вистачить мужності підтримати це рішення. Нам мужності вистачає боронити свою батьківщину, боронити Європу. У кожному нашому місті окупанти отримують жорстку відсіч. Умань, Одеса, Херсон, Миколаїв, Донбас, Харків, Суми, Чернігів, Київ. Всюди, де ворог вбиває наших людей, Збройні сили України роблять усе, щоб зупинити і знищити окупантів. Львів та інші міста Західної та Центральної України, які піддаються атакам з повітря, тримаються стійко. Молодці. Кожному українцю треба пам'ятати одне. Якщо можете зупиняти і знищувати окупантів, робіть це. Всі, хто може повернутися в Україну, повертайтеся, щоб захистити Україну. А потім у нас буде з вами дуже багато роботи, щоб її відбудувати. Всі, хто може захищати Україну за кордоном, робіть це цілеспрямовано, згуртовано, безперервно. Всі друзі України, хто хоче приєднатися до захисту, приїжджайте. Ми дамо вам зброю. Усі деталі, як це реалізувати, буде додатково оголошено найближчим часом. Всім, хто захищає Україну сьогодні, слава! Ви герої! Я ухвалив рішення про нагородження звання Героя України скакуна Віталія Володимировича, сапера 35-ї окремої бригади морської піхоти, посмертно. Ціною власного життя він підірвав міст. А теперь я хочу, чтобы меня услышали в России. Абсолютно все. Тысячи жертв, сотни пленных, которые просто не могут понять, ради чего их отправили в Украину. Отправили в Украину умирать, убивать других. Чем быстрее вы скажете своей власти, что войну нужно немедленно остановить, тем больше ваших людей останутся живыми. Мы видим, что действительно есть выступления ваших граждан против войны. И мы знаем, что многие в России сейчас просто шокированы подлостью и жестокостью власти. И это очень правильная реакция. Я благодарю вас за эту реакцию. Спасибо Леониду Парфенову, Дмитрию Муратову, Юрию Дудю, Лехе Хиджаковой, Валерию Меладзе, ну и тысячам достойных других россиян, чья совесть звучит громко. Просто остановите тех, кто лжет. Лжет вам, лжет нам, лжет всему миру. Нужно закончить эту войну. Мы можем жить в мире глобальном, в мире человеческом. Наші військові, нацгвардійці, Нацпол, тероборона, прикордонники, спецслужбовці, громадяни. Тримайтеся. Всіх переможемо. Слава Україні!
Okay. What was that, Josh? All right, let's pull back up Flight Radar, and we can I'll drop a link for Flight Radar in here for you guys. I saw a couple comments asking about, you know, what link you could use to monitor air traffic. It's dropping that link in chat for you. FlightRadar24.com. Coming up for you right now. And while we're watching this, I'm going to look through some of the support that you guys are sending over. Guys, thank you so much for just being here, for having the discussion with me. I'm no expert. I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be. I don't think that I am. And all we're really here to do is showcase for you what we are seeing with our eyes out, looking for combat footage. That's what we do at Funker 530 is host combat footage on our website and on the app. You can download the app at the pinned comment above or run the command !app. That's all you need to do, and you'll be able. It'll take you to both iOS and the app and the Google Play Store, excuse me, and you'll be able to download it. All of this footage that we're reviewing today, you could have already seen when it went live. We'll send out regular app notifications, so make sure you have notifications on as well. If you're here and you're a member, make sure you join our Discord. Use !Discord to get in there, because there's a hidden discussion area, and in the future there's going to be a few other perks for becoming members here. And I talked about those earlier, but I'll cover them again here in just a few minutes. So Ilmedic59, thanks for becoming a member. Edmund, thank you for the $49.99. Thank you for keeping us all informed. A trusted voice like yours means a lot to the world right now. We're just relaying what we have. We're relaying what we have. I'm doing everything that I can to not put a spin on it, if you will. Somebody mentioned in the comments this channel is Ukrainian bias, and I would say we are not necessarily biased, just anti-bully, if you will. There's absolutely zero reason for Russia to invade Ukraine right now. That's it. Maku, thank you very much for the $3.94. Nathan S, thank you for the $4.99.
All right. Hey, take a moment and spam the reactions if you haven't. Like the video on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed and you're following. Drop a follow on the page.
What are we listening to here?
Followers on Facebook.
Give me one moment. I've got some additional feed coming through. There we go. Yep. Found it. Let's go back to our map here. That was Poise Tactical coming through on his page over there. That's the live feed that we've been following. Let's see here. Andrew Roberts, thank you for the $10 super chat. You feel like this is a bigger scheme? Sending him I think. So the question that Andrew sent in, it says specifically, do you feel like this is a part of some bigger scheme? Sending in what mostly looks like conscripts doesn't feel like a legit commitment to an invasion to me. Again, I kind of spoke about this a little bit earlier. I think Russia underestimated Ukraine's capability to defend itself and global support for Ukraine. And I think he overestimated the capabilities of those assets that he put in play here. We have yet to see the real tip of the spear for Russia. Now, whether or not there are ulterior motives outside of just expanding Russian influence, I don't pretend to know that much about Eastern European affairs. New sub here. Great coverage. Keep it up. Thanks for the $20. Mad Max Juggernaut, thank you for the $3.94. Rye Guy, thank you for the $10. Reflection, thank you for the $4.99. Thank you for being, or Super Tom N, thank you for the $10. Thank you for being, or for working so hard to be a trusted and incredibly educated source on the conflict. There are many out there that are better educated on, Eastern European, issues and the invasion of Ukraine than I am. We're doing our best for those that want to be here. We're doing our best to bring you what we see. Kevin Lung, thank you for the $3.94. Got a couple of announcements that I want to rehash before we jump back into the SIGACT map. Yesterday we announced, and we haven't talked about this in a little bit here. Yesterday we announced our new merch line with Bunker branding, and we also announced that through that merch line we were going to be sending any proceeds to Ukrainian charity, or to charity on behalf of Ukraine. We have... I have some official reports for you on how much you have raised as members of the community so far, and it's over $67,000. Just yesterday, we sold 5,100 shirts, and I'm going to pull those shirts up for you here. For those that haven't seen them yet, they have been making their way around social media, and the very first is for those of us that believe in ghosts, the Ghost of Kiev, and you can use the command !merch to head over and grab yourself one. They do ship internationally. We have partnered with Bunker Branding to fulfill these merch orders. They are also another relatively small organization, but they make a great product. A lot of those content creators that you're already familiar with are out there. The company is owned by Demolition Ranch, the gentleman by the name of Matt Carricker. We've been working this merch setup for months, so there's almost an element of irony that it's being stood up now. So that's just one of those two shirts. Again, we sold over 5,100 shirts just yesterday. So that means that you guys raised over $67,000 that's going to be going to charity. Let me pull up the other shirt here. And in remembrance of our Snake Island 13... Which one? Again, you guys can pick this stuff up, !merch, okay? Now, it's not just these two shirts that are going to be going towards Ukrainian charity. Any purchase of any merchandise from our merch store, all sales, whether it be a Funker logo on it or our Danger Baseball t-shirt, which is a grenade. I love the design. I love it because it was my idea. That's the first one I bought before we had these. Any merch that you purchase from our merch store over on Bunker Branding is going to go towards charity for the month of March. Now, we have video from one of those Snake Island 13. And it's honestly one of my favorite videos ever. This is obviously not while he was at Snake Island, not during the conflict, but we also do have video of that day, and presumably some of the very last moments of the Snake Island 13 that you can check out on the website, or I can bring it up here if you're unfamiliar with the story. So let's take a look at let's take a look at one of our members of the Snake Island 13. There's one of our Snake Island 13. Now something that I saw, entirely too many comments about is the possibility or the reports that have come out today saying that they were in fact captured and were not killed. That is absolutely Russian propaganda. Sorry. We've been talking for quite a few days here about the information warfare capabilities of Russia, right? The propensity of Russia to set conditions to set conditions and combat narratives that don't align with what Russia wants to accomplish. Now, I'm not saying specifically that there's anything wrong with doing that, right? And the reason I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing that is because I actually have a background in the military of doing information operations, right? That is a part of conflict. It's a part of combat, setting conditions in the cognitive space for what you want to achieve, right? So if there is some form of a narrative, if there's some form of a narrative that is contrary to Russian prowess or power, they're going to directly attack that. Okay, let's jump back in here. I want to go to the live UA map, and we'll talk a little bit about the situation around Ukraine, basically what's going on from the 4 specific axes of advance that Russia has, and there are very distinct. And we'll rehash a few things about potential strategy if for those that weren't here for it earlier. Coming up for you now. So the heaviest of the conflict specific to Kiev has been west of the Dnipro River, and it started with a launching point at Chernobyl, right? So taking Chernobyl, a lot of folks were wondering why they would want to do that. From a basic distance perspective from an ally, right? You've got Belarus here to the north. From a distance perspective, this is the fastest route from Belarus to Kiev that Russia can use to capture Kiev. And that they have been relatively unsuccessful to approach from east of the river on the eastern bank. So the west is really that only pointed area that they are continuing to try to press into Kiev. And they're not using any heavy armor. They're not using, they're honestly not using barely any of their indirect fire's capability. Right, so we do see a lot of reports about shelling and bombs falling, but that is a fraction of what Russia can bring to the table here. The other 2 axes of advance are going to be from, obviously, the east, but there is less of a push in the east than there is what appears to be some form of an effort of isolation and establishment of a land bridge between Crimea in the south. I'm trying to center this for you. Crimea in the south and Donbass. They were stopped in Kherson, so Kherson has been retaken. But they have been unsuccessful, Russia specifically, in taking Mariupol. Right? If they do establish this land bridge, that's just a base for them to continue pressing up both the western and eastern banks of the river into Kiev. Now, I remain surprised that Transnistria hasn't played a heavier part in this. Because, again, we did see a buildup of troops here in Transnistria. This strip of land between Moldova and Ukraine. Let's check on some of these SIGEX, though. We haven't really focused on them too heavily. Audible clashes. Yep. So the activity that we do see pushing into Kiev is... Hello? We still doing good? Huh? Was I fast enough? I was just fast enough. All right. Let's go through some of this support, and it's probably high time we start closing things out. Chris, Thank you for the 2206. I appreciate that very much. Excuse me. Ben B Fishing. Thank you for the 358. Free shipping on Bunker Branding in Australia. I don't control shipping costs from Bunker Branding. Smokey B, thank you for the 666. Hi, you said a while ago about how the Ukrainian president said he will arm any volunteers. So you know if that's only for Ukrainian citizens? No, it's not. No, he's calling for any support. Sending good vibes, health, and love to everyone. Chris, thank you for the 5515, sir. Ronnie, how much of a donation do you want for a PsyOps 101 manual? I spent quite a long time of my career in information operations, and I would actually love a refresher course. So the 10 should handle it. Thank you. Matthew, thank you for the $20. Currently helping friends in Ukraine get to Poland from Kiev. That's really awesome. So we reported a couple days ago, and Poland has really opened their borders up. They're doing, they threw out visa requirements. They don't care about your COVID stuff. They said, just come over. Just come on over. Right? Fepi? Thanks for becoming a member. The BK Knight, thank you for the 5. I saw you had a contact in Ukraine. Is he okay? That's Willie. Yes, that's Willie. And we actually have multiple, right? So we have Nolan. Our team is familiar with Nolan and knows him professionally. And we also have Willie. We interviewed Willie the very first night we were live. Willie beating cancer. He's also been on Fox News. He's got a really great a really great live streaming schedule. He's been going live on his Instagram. So just go ahead and Google Willie beating cancer. Find his Instagram and check in with him on his lives. Gamer Dad ×4. Thanks for the $10. What's up, Josh? Yep, it's all good. Clutch, thank you for the $2. Please read my super chat. The one that I'm reading or one before that. Chris, thank you for the 110. Wow, appreciate that. Thank you for donating to the Ukrainian charity. I got a shirt. This is for you guys. Thank you for the $99.99, Dan. Thank you so much. Caleb Reed, thank you for the $4.99. Take my E4 paycheck. Just don't buy a Corvette with it. And thank you very much for the $4.99. Slawa Boga, thank you for the $5. I don't like what Russia is doing and all, but U.S. and European Union governments are not faultless. You're absolutely right. And if you were to go look on our website, and a lot of people think that when we're covering something specific, there's this whataboutism. There's this whataboutism that just comes out, that seeps out of the cracks. Go look at our website. Go look at the stuff that we posted about the fall of Kabul, right? About the airstrike that killed children. We try and we recognize that everybody has their own internal bias. I have my own, conscious and subconscious, but we do our best to try to cut through that. Okay? We are not perfect. I'm not perfect. Not even nowhere close. Keep going through here. Eric, thank you for becoming a member. Timothy Friends, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you guys for being here, for hanging out with us for a little bit. We're going to begin efforts to start tearing the stream down. And we'll continue to kind of do these maybe shorter 2.5 to 3 hour streams as close to daily as possible while this is happening. Let's go full here. And just see if there's any remaining footage that I want to show you guys here. If I didn't show you something, it's because I can't, and it's on the app and it's not safe for work. AD_to_AM. Thanks very much for becoming a member. Guys, if you became a member, make sure you join the Discord. There's instructions in the Discord to link your YouTube and your Discord accounts, because that'll give you, as members, a special access area in the Discord. And very soon we'll be putting... after our 30-day promotional pricing on the merch goes away, there will be some perks to being a member. We watched that one already. Nope, I think we've covered the majority. This is one I want to cover. Just Ukrainian Chads being absolute Chads and trolls. So... this is footage that came by way of Radio Free Europe, and it showed basically Ukrainian locals taking down road signs to essentially mess with Russians as they're driving through trying to figure out where they're going. I'm going to give you full screen on this one.
Такі от реалії війни. Знімаємо вказівники перед містом. Ми тепер росіянам можемо казати тільки один шлях. Їм хлопці зі Зміїного вказали. Так і живемо.
That's funny. That's funny. We were chatting about this. We were kind of expecting them to like just flip it over or something, all Looney Tunes style. Have them just turn around and go back.
Росіянам можемо казати тільки один шлях. Їм хлопці зі Зміїного вказали. Так і живемо.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you again for being here. Let me bring this back up. Again, make sure once again that you guys aren't just using the website, because you're not going to get the alerts. You're not going to get the notifications through the website. Download the app. Use the app. If you would like to follow me, if you happen to play video games, I stream on a second channel over on the Ronnie Fit channel, and I also have a second Discord that we do a lot more gaming type stuff. If you guys want to find your way over there, you're more than welcome to come by and have fun with us. I'm typically live Monday, Wednesday, Friday when we don't have a conflict or an invasion to cover. I typically only stream here on Thursdays, so I'm looking forward to having some of you folks come over and hang out with me, and we're going to tear it down. I appreciate you being here. Download the app, hit the like button on the stream, get into the Discord. Let's continue the conversation there. I'll be in there talking in the all chat, and stay informed. Good night.
Вот это. Вот это.